All right, so number one, let's get this out of the way. Yes, I know this probably looks weird, probably sounds a little bit different too. I rearranged my room, and like for whatever reason, I can't find that perfect like mix of proper lighting and like where to put the mic. So I know like it might look similar, but I haven't done one of these sit down videos in a long time, and since I've rearranged my room, I'm trying to like put it all back together. So I'm ordering some things to make it better, new mic, new lighting. So hopefully we figure it out soon enough. But anyway, I know this is something we talked about already on the podcast. So if you had not already, go check out the Kick Six podcast on YouTube. Also check out the Kick Six podcast Instagram page. So make sure you go check that out. We talked about this briefly, but we didn't really dive deep into it because we both agreed we shouldn't probably talk about it until more things are out and more things are confirmed and or denied. So since we're not going to have another podcast until Monday, I figured I need to keep up with this channel as well as that. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to talk about this. So if you have not heard already, on top of the name change, the formerly known Washington Redskins have had some problems come out. And there was a lot of allegations that was potentially going to be in this Washington Post, I believe, or whatever. This article involving possible pimping of cheerleaders, drug parties, sex parties, paying off refs, sexual misconduct in the workplace, etc., and basically issues around that. So that was what was alleged. The internet was buzzing with, conversation about it. So this Washington Post article comes out, and basically it is the stories of, I believe, like 15 women who have come out and said, this is what happened in the front office, or maybe not the front office, but within the workings of the organization when it comes to, I believe, like sexual misconduct and issues like that. It's a horrible story. It's not that it was horrible from the writer's standpoint, but from the experiences that those people went through. It's absolutely terrible. And I really don't want to get into the nitty gritty of the story, but basically what I had said, because I had heard somewhat of the allegations or the expectations of what is going to be in the article from Pat McAfee's show, and then AJ Hawk and Pat McAfee's show after Pat's show. So it's when he was talking about it, it was basically like, this is going to be bad. Like, potentially bad for the entire NFL, not just Dan Snyder, not just the Redskins organization, or formerly known as the Redskins organization. This is going to be bad for everybody. So get ready, is essentially what Pat said with his sources or whoever texted him. But now that this article's come out, a lot of people have said, well, this isn't that bad. We're not like there was an expectation of all these list of things to be involved, and they weren't. So when it comes to this whole issue, they have hired some investigators, some lawyers, and whatnot, and they're going to deal with this whole process, and it's going to be tough because the Washington football team, name has not been announced yet, are dealing with a lot now because for years they fought to keep their name, despite what, me and Dylan's opinion on the podcast last when we talked about this was, it's not up to us to decide if it's offensive or what they should do with it. We're personally not that affected by the name, but also we're not going to be mad either way. You get what I mean? So basically, it's not our decision. It's not up to us to be offended by it or not, or our decision to make as far as keep or not. So when it came down that the Redskins were changing their name, and it sounds like they're going to keep Washington. So there was talks of possibly calling them like the DC whatever, name after DC, instead of moving on from that whole name in general. So they're dealing with that pressure because they're getting hit in the pocketbook with this, in the bank. Sponsors are pulling out. Nike's not putting their stuff up. The NFL shop's not putting their stuff up. I believe Walmart, Amazon, some of these like big name companies are not selling their merch. They're not selling their products with the name and logo involved. So on top of dealing with this, they only have, I believe, a couple weeks to come up with a new name, new logos, new designs, new uniforms, new branding, new merch. They're going to be working nonstop. And in the midst of all this, all of a sudden, boom, here comes, and I meant to say boom, it came out wrong. Here comes this Washington Post article, and now it's like, what's going to end up happening there? Because Dan Snyder does not have a good reputation as it is as a, I believe he's a part owner or majority owner or whatever of that team, and some of the minority owners are bailing as quickly as possible because they don't want to be involved with this. They don't want to be involved with the allegations, the potential court stuff, legal stuff to come later. So Ron Rivera was hired as the head coach of the Redskins at the time, and basically what he's come out and said is like, you know what, no matter what happened, we got to fix it. He said, my daughter's going to be working here. Like, we have got to fix these problems. And I personally believe, like, they're lucky that they were able to hire him as head coach because, you know, I think everybody kind of figured there was a lot of problems within the organization just from a football standpoint with coaching. Obviously, people don't like Dan Snyder, think he's not doing a good job at all. And now all this stuff comes out. Ron Rivera couldn't have expected that this was going to happen. Like, just get thrown into the fire. But he's handled this very professionally. Like, he's taken a situation where a lot of coaches would crumble and say, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't know. What do I say? How do I handle this? He's basically come out and said, yeah, listen, no matter what the problem is, no matter what's going on, it's changing and it's changing now. And good for him, because if they didn't hire him and they hired, you know, no disrespect, but let's say a guy like who the Giants hired in Joe Judge, yes, he's coming from the Patriots, who are a well-ran organization as far as the structure side of things. What happens if they hired a Joe Judge? He's never been in a position like this to where he's got to captain the ship through some tough tides. Ron Rivera has been a head coach for the Carolina Panthers through thick and thin. So from the bad times to Super Bowl and going deep into playoffs. So he knows what he's doing. He's a fantastic head coach. So, you know, I personally think this is a great chance for the formerly known as Redskins Washington football team to move on. Like, their organization in the last how many years has sucked. Like, it's been terrible. They haven't really had consistent quarterback play as far as like the franchise guy. Now, of course, they had Kirk Cousins and they had RG3 at the time when he was expected to be really good, but they have not had long-term success for a long time. Now, this is an opportunity to where you can say, okay, culture change, bring it in. Change everything culture-wise, organizational-wise, how business is ran. And now you can bring in the whole new name, new merch, new uniforms, and you can say, okay, we are rebranded. This is kind of my thing I had with the Browns. It's like, you've had a rough recent history. This is your chance to kind of rebrand, take that new step in this new decade. Even though, yes, it's been a horrible year to start. But now is a perfect time to say, you know what? We're done. We're moving on. We're going for a bright future. And I think that's what they should do with this whole situation. Accept everything that happened. And hopefully the other allegations are false and completely made up. So far, I have not heard that those allegations are true. But when it comes to moving forward, they're in a good position because something as small as new uniforms, new logos, new merch can change a lot. Like, you would really be surprised how much something as small as that can change. So you got to figure Ron Rivera is going to lead the ship here. I originally had said, if all these allegations are true with the drug parties, the sex parties, the pimping that was going on, like all these crazy things, other than what has come out with these, what the, I believe, 15 women have said, Dan Snyder is getting the boot ASAP. Roger Goodell is going to have him on the phone saying, you got to go. Like, sell the team. Sorry. Like, you have no choice. I don't think, like, the allegations that have come out in this Washington Post article do not directly involve Dan Snyder. So, when it comes to booting him, yes or no, I don't think it's enough. Now, if all this stuff comes out and it's true, then absolutely he'll be gone. But he's got to be willing to change. Like, I understand, like, you don't want to change the name. I get it. Like, we can, to me personally, I see both sides of it because, like, I 1000% see how it is offensive and should be changed. But also I've seen where it's like, there's a lot of natives who are like, I really don't care. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't look at it as offensive. Where, like I said earlier, it's not our choice to make. But now that the sponsors are kicking the door and saying, you know what, change or we're out, I think it's a good thing. And like I said, it's a good opportunity for them to move forward in every aspect. And I think going forward, as far as team success, Dwayne Haskins was drafted to Washington despite a lot of distrust maybe within the front office with that decision. He got a lot of heat with his play last year, but towards the end of the season, you've seen some flashes. And I think this is his perfect opportunity to step in, be the franchise guy for an organization that's struggling, that needs a leader other than your head coach. And, they do have a bright future. I really do think they do. I believe in Dwayne Haskins. Yes, I'm an Ohio State fan. But I think his style and I think his leadership, I think he can get the job done and lead a team like Washington to success. Like, I think that if you build around him, he can get there. And I think Ron Rivera is going to help a lot with that process. Now, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, they're building. They're building from a on-the-field aspect, and I think it's only going to get better. Like, they're not going to be a great team this year. I think they'll probably have a top 5, top 7 pick. But as far as moving forward, moving this process forward, changing the organization from top to bottom, as terrible as these things are, with the allegations and whatnot, this is a perfect time as any to change. So hopefully they do it the right way. As far as team name, I like the Red Tails and I like the Red Wolves. So I'm hoping it's one of those two, and I hope they don't mess it up. Because when you think about a name change, like, this is going to be like a long time. Like, you don't want to have to redo all this again. So hopefully they get it right. But, you know, it's sad. It really is. And it's frustrating. But so far, the other allegations have not been proven necessarily yet. Hopefully those are false, just from a human standpoint. Not saying that, what was said isn't terrible, because it is. But, we'll see how things turn out. I don't know when you're going to find out about the name change or the new name and all that, but their back's against the wall in pretty much every aspect. So we'll see about that, and let me know in the comment section below, what do you think their name should be, or new name should be? Do you think Snyder should sell the team? I personally think yes, just out of a with all this going on, I think it's best for him just to move aside. So anyway, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the Kick Six podcast on YouTube. Go check out the Instagram page, and we will see you in the next video. Goodbye.